I wish I could say that I have a huge amount to talk about this week, but since we started doing a daily news show, make sure to check back after the 29th because we're going to be uploading every weekday with more news stories and our scarily accurate predictions. Also, did you guys enjoy the two news stories we put out this week? Is there anything you want to see in them? There really isn't anything to talk about. So before we get into winging it, for the second to last time, let's hear that theremin. Welcome to the Sometimes Serious podcast, where we're sometimes serious all the time. I'm your host, Philip Edwards, and I'm joined by my co-founder, Michael Palmer.
Hello.
So, how you doing? I know your thumb's hurting for everyone listening.
I
Or
shall I explain that? Shall I just quickly give them the little anecdote for it?
do it.
So, I have a job, a paying job that I go to. I work nights. I got a taxi into work, and I somehow managed to shut my thumb in the taxi door as I was getting out. As I went to close the door after getting out, I shut my thumb in it, and then I spent my entire 8-hour shift in A&E. So that was fun.
And I'm pretty sure the listener can infer from that by taxi door you mean a man named Jerome.
No, it wasn't a case of over clenching.
It wasn't anything particularly too serious. Just
No, no,
he's
I
lost
just I
his nail.
yeah, the nail hasn't come off. It's snapped from the halfway point out towards the right of the right thumb. So, it bled a fair amount, and now it's just hurting.
We'll try and wrap it up quick so you don't have to be stuck here with a hurting thumb.
Ah, you don't care that much, but
I
thanks.
really, I really, really, really. Anyway, Phil Spencer, he went on a talk show that's done on Animal Crossing, and he was being questioned about Halo,
Yeah,
and he admitted that the original plan was to release Halo Infinite in segments. So they would release the campaign, and then they would release the other bits later, almost exactly like we said in the news show.
can I just say that one, you know, we were right. Two, we were right. And three, what an awful idea that was.
Yep. I'm glad that Phil Spencer realized it because how many other companies wouldn't have, and they would have pushed that team and just made them get out the campaign and then just go, look, here's the campaign.
Well, I,
Way.
I haven't looked into it, but how well or not did Hitman do? Because they released that in segments, didn't they? Instead of doing the full thing, they released like
Uh,
season one and that.
that one is a bit different, and the IO Interactive Hitmans have actually done really, really well because they've released it episodically. It's not like half a product. It's you buy it and then hey, we're going to release episodes like Life is Strange did episodes. It was that, and they
Okay,
also had plenty of other content in each episode to keep people, you know,
engaged.
yeah,
Okay, okay. So it just would have been as much of a catastrophe as we thought it sounded.
yeah. We probably in September, mid to late September, I reckon, would have seen footage of the multiplayer, and they would have sneakily put in like, releasing in March 2021 or whenever it is. Um,
Uh,
I would also like to say about Halo because we didn't say it in the news story because we didn't want to seem too smug, but we did cover almost all of this in the news story. Um, yeah, didn't we say it needed a delay
mm-hmm.
back in the podcast when we covered this? Like
Yeah,
when Halo did, well, when Xbox did their big showcase reveal, we said they needed to delay, and they did. I'm not
yep.
necessarily saying they like we're right all the time, but
We've got a pretty good track record. There have been times in the past where we've made these predictions before we started this channel, and okay, yeah, there have been times where we've been wrong, but usually our collective compass for this is always pointing true north. You
I'm
know,
quite proud. We could see it and went, this should be delayed.
yeah.
Um,
And we've done it with a fair few games where we've made entire judgment calls where we've looked at it and we've gone, that looks rubbish, but I reckon it's actually going to be good, and it's turned out to be good. You know, or vice versa. It's usually vice versa, unfortunately, where the
yeah,
cinematic they'll show looks nice and tidy, but the game itself is absolutely trash.
there is a game coming out relatively soon that looks kind of like that. And well, to be fair, I do need to say it. Initially, when we first covered the Avengers thing, uh, they hadn't
Mm,
shown anything apart from one war table, and I said, look into it. It actually looks really fun. The more they've shown, the more my opinion has gone the exact opposite way. Do not get it. Wait. This is Anthem. Wait for this one because this ain't it. This ain't gonna land. Wait for it. But that I I just had to recorrect that statement I've previously made. Um, Phil Spencer during the interview also said, and I thought this was quite a nice thing for them. He said that last weekend he took home the final retail version of the Series X. So they have finished production
yeah,
for the amount that are going to be ready for launch. They finished it and
we
he's got one at home.
we did have a slight conversation on this, didn't we?
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, I was always going to pick one up at launch anyway. I I am going to attribute it to more FOMO than anything else, but obviously I know I'm going to be picking up a Series X at some point, so why not do
Yeah.
it now? And I said that I'm going to have to be right on it for pre-orders because I don't want to run the risk. And then Philip came in with his thing here, didn't you? Tell
I
them what
don't
you
think you have
said.
to worry about it. And I don't think you have to worry about it because I think Xbox is so cocksure here. I think saying something like that shows they're really cocksure. Sony have already said that they're only selling one console per household and that they've had production issues. Microsoft haven't said anything even close to that. They've constantly gone, yeah, we've got it easily under control. I think they're going to flood the market with their console because they can't afford there to be a lack of them because people will just go buy the PlayStation. People like the people who go, you know what? I think I want to pick up Xbox this generation, but they're still kind of on the fence. If there's not a console available, they're just going to get PlayStation. They're not going to wait, and I think Xbox knows that. So I think the market's going to be flooded.
So I shouldn't actually need to worry about it if what you say is true.
Just the
So
way they've spoken about it, the way Phil Spencer has been really open and honest about all of these things, it feels like he would have said, honestly, we've encountered quite a few production issues, and it's actually been really difficult to get enough consoles out there to the shelves. But he hasn't said that. He's always been, yeah, we got it covered. Yeah, we found ways around it. Yeah, like we absolutely think there'll be enough consoles on the shelves. I don't reckon there's going to be an issue here.
I'm
Please
I'm
don't
still
be.
going to be on it. The moment that it's available for pre-order, that's it. Bam, I'm up there.
This leads us neatly on to the next thing. The Series X from from the same controller um, leak that happened
Oh
that
yes,
announced
that
the
one.
Series S. There was a sticker on the box that said, "Do not display or sell this product until November 6th." So people are taking that to mean they think the launch date for Xbox Series X is going to be November 6th.
Oh, I
Ah,
hope so.
I don't.
Reason?
I think that's too early. One of the big draws for most console sales, what games it come bundled with?
Yeah, fair. If it
What
comes out
games
with no
launch
games on it,
before November 6th?
as far as I'm aware, none.
The only games that are gonna kind of launch in October window maybe would be the new COD, but we still haven't heard anything about that.
I was going to say, I reckon that's a November release anyway.
It's like normally they aim for October.
Yeah, because
Like they've been
the
pulling it
first
forward into
ones.
October's, but we've heard
Yeah,
nothing about it. It'd be really, really silly for them to go for October at this point. So
if
what
they
game gets bundled with the Series X? Can't have Halo. You can't have any of the Ubisoft junk because there's two big Ubisoft titles that are launching, but they launch
I'm,
after November
mm,
6th.
mm, you say you can't have Halo, but and this is just going off the competition that I won my Xbox One X in. What if you do get Halo bundled with it? It's just they give it to they give you a code to redeem.
See,
Like
that would be possible.
you go onto Microsoft's website rather than doing it through the Xbox store, and you redeem the code, and then it just puts it onto your account so that when Halo releases, bam, it's there. You just have to download and install it.
It would be possible. I can't imagine them doing that because I think Halo's delayed. I actually think April is probably the earliest we're going to see Halo. I think they ideally need to aim for the March to April window because that window's dead. Like there's not many games launch in that window. It's a perfect place for them to launch. But I think it might be later. I can't imagine this is just going to be a 1 or 2 month delay. I think more 6.
Yeah, I
And
don't think it's going to be a short delay by any stretch of the imagination, but they'd be daft if they let it take more than six, because if they let it take more than six, then very few people, well, more people are going to be less interested in it because
yeah,
it's just going to have been too long.
I apart from Halo possibly, like the big console seller you'd expect, especially considering most of their branding has been Xbox, would be Cyberpunk. But that's about 13 days too early for Cyberpunk. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Again, unless November 6th is when the pre-orders start.
Well, I can't imagine they're going to start pre-orders 13 to 14 days ahead of when the console sells. That would be silly. Months in advance is probably more likely. I somewhat suspect when they do their
Back end of
announcement this
September.
month. Actually,
Oh.
I kind of think this month because we're apparently meant to get pricing this month, and I think that might be when
Has that
pre-orders
been
start.
confirmed though? Because if that's not been confirmed, then we still don't actually have anything to,
It hasn't been
go
fully
by.
confirmed. It's been hinted at heavily, and a lot of the evidence that pointed towards Project Lockhart also pointed towards an August announcement for the pricing, and Lockhart is pretty much confirmed at this point. Like it's all but confirmed because the controller said Series S, and it was a legitimate controller.
Hmm.
So like it feels like I reckon Xbox is desperately trying to hold on to make PlayStation go first. Because if PlayStation announced their pricing first, Xbox can undercut. But I think PlayStation are doing the same thing, and I think Xbox know they're running out of time because their
I
goal is to swing the player base as early as possible.
I'm wondering if they are actually just waiting for the other, or if they've got it already sorted. They just, you know, don't want to be the first one to go.
I guarantee whoever goes first, the next one comes out within a week. I guarantee that they are just waiting for each other. It's just this cat and mouse game. Like, are you going to announce? Because if Sony launches expensive, but Microsoft launches cheap, Microsoft's got a better chance of winning.
Yeah, they've got a better chance, but I still don't think they will.
Anyway, the actual thing was, we like it doesn't make sense to me. It would make sense to me launching the console on Cyberpunk's release date because then you could bundle it and go, look, you can get Cyberpunk day one with the Series X.
Yeah,
That would make sense to me.
yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me to launch 13 days early. So it's an interesting one to think about. What will be bundled in the pack? Gold? Game Pass Ultimate?
That would be one that I think they're going to do.
It feels like you have to have a game bundled.
Game Pass Ultimate, you haven't got one game bundled, you've got 100.
To be fair, they could play it that angle. I don't think it works though. I feel like you have to have that big launch title, and I don't think they have one.
I
What's coming out?
what what have Sony got as a big launch title?
Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm
That's
almost certain that'll be launch.
okay, but that's what at best a 5 hour game because they said it was about half the length of the Spider-Man game that released on the PS4.
Yeah, it's going to be a standalone expansion, pretty much.
Yeah. Although don't say that on social media. I've seen a lot of people get really nasty trying to defend it. It's ridiculous.
Ratchet and Clank launching for PlayStation, I think.
Is that a day one launch?
I don't know. I'd assume it's all going to be quite close by because we have no idea when PlayStation's launching either. It just seems a little suspect. Why not delay the 19 day? If they can get some kind of deal with Cyberpunk to have it where you get a code for Cyberpunk but don't get the game until launch, then I can see that being bundled. I'll probably pick it up.
Yeah. 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 I was going to say that's pretty much what my bundle's going to be. It's going to be, hey, I want the oh, you've got that one. Yeah, I'll take that. Thanks.
I'm going to pick up Cyberpunk if you offer me the Series X and Cyberpunk together. I wasn't planning on getting Series X at launch, but that will change my mind. Like that will really change my mind. Anyway,
And that yeah, we'll leave it at
no,
that.
go on.
No. Mine was only going to be some minor addition talking about how, I'd probably pick up Cyberpunk for both, well, for all platforms anyway, because,
Not going to have time. There's going to be multiple playthroughs of it.
you say I'm not going to have time. I will find time.
Same. Like this is way off topic and nothing about what we actually want to talk about, but both of us have not gone through The Witcher 3 yet, just because we can't find the time to sit down and like give a game 200 hours, which is what The Witcher really kind of demands, is you just sit and play. I'm gonna find that time for Cyberpunk.
Same.
Anyway, moving on. Um, this is a bit sad, slightly sad. After something like 20 years, something ridiculous like that, Laszlo Jones has left GTA.
Wow.
And now you go, who's Laszlo Jones?
For the sake of those that don't know, go on.
Yeah,
Who's
just
Laszlo Jones?
oh, okay. Laszlo Jones is a radio host, and he's been pretty much every GTA since it went third person. He's like that's how far back. He's been kind of instrumental, but he wasn't just a radio host. Laszlo was the creative mastermind and producer behind many features of GTA, such as radio stations, commentary, in-game websites, and NPC audio. And he's decided to part ways with Rockstar.
Well, that's yeah.
Man, myth, hero. So it's going to be a bit weird when the next one launches and you're not going to hear Laszlo on the radio.
You say when the next one launches.
To be fair, yeah, it'll probably be in long after we're dead and gone, so 60, 70 years.
I, I was really expecting a dark humor joke from you then.
I know, I didn't want to make it because the listeners might not understand that it was dark humor.
Yeah, long after we're gone, in about 10 years' time.
Well, I was going to say 6, 7 days.
We
Yeah, I was came out of nowhere, a little bit sad. It's like, oh, poor Laszlo. Although
As
it
a
appears
lot of people.
he's just he's just leaving. It's not like there's bad blood. He's just decided to go on to other things. So wish
Oh,
him the
so
best.
they could still get him in. It just won't be on a permanent contract basis. It'll
Yeah,
just
it
be,
it
hey,
just
we'd
appears like
like you to do this.
he wants to go on and do something else. So wish him the absolute best. He's been with us in every GTA game for 20 odd years. So the majority of our lives.
Yes. I feel old
He's
now,
been
thanks
part of
for that.
GTA longer than Reese has been alive.
Now I really feel old.
Yeah, think
Thanks.
about that.
Oh dear.
There were only two big stories that happened this week,
Okay.
and we might be able to cover one. I'm hoping we only cover one.
Go
Um,
on.
you may remember. Let me quickly find it. You may remember that there was a group of shareholders who pushed for Activision to not give their CEO a bonus, and they lost.
Wasn't
They lost not hard.
wasn't that the same company that I brought up about? Was it EA?
It is. Um, this company decided to try with EA because they lost with Activision. So they decided to try with EA, and the predictable happened. They won by a considerable margin. Something like 70, 75, 74% voted in favor of not giving the bonuses to these people. I can give you the rejected payment plan included a proposed 21.37 million in total compensation for CEO Android Wilson in the fiscal year of 2020, up from 18.3 in 2019. Other execs were set to see a much larger bumps. CFO Blake Jorgensen from
Yeah.
9.4 to 19.5.
What?
Chief Studios Officer Laura Miley, Miele, goes
Melee? What?
from was
Melee.
going to go from 6.9 to 16.1, and CTO Kenneth Moss from 6.9 to 14.2.
That is just a little bit stupid.
It is really, isn't it? That's incredible lump sums, as Skill Up pointed out on Twitter. If you take the cost of games going from 60 to 70 and have that cover like all of the sales from one game, so 3 million units, let's say. So that's actually really low sales. So 3 million units, bang. That amount of money you would earn just from increasing the price from 60 to 70, the extra money would cover only four of those raises.
Oh, only four of them.
Only four of the raises. Think
Oh,
how many developers work on these games, and all of that money would be gone and more just to giving these execs bonuses.
yep.
That is insane money. Like, unbelievable money. I'm I'm kind of taken aback. I'm kind of aghast with shock.
Ah, I am glad that they've won because these bonuses really should not be given out unless it's something absolutely spectacular. I mean, give them a bonus. No way should it be as much as they're getting, and no way should it have increased as much as they wanted to. But that that money really should go to the people that actually do the work.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like, they don't do anything. I'm sure they do work. I'm sure they
Well,
do stuff, you know. They they are in that position for a reason, I hope.
they know people and they
But
were already rich.
look, 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 I didn't want to talk about nepotism or anything like that. Let, let's pretend in a perfect world they actually have, you know, they actually have work to do. So let's just say they have work to do. Now, I can understand giving them a little bit of a bonus, but they don't have as much work to do in terms of the workload as all these developers, artists, sound design, every single person on the ground floor that actually works on the game. They are the ones that need it the most.
There's an interesting thought that comes up when it comes to this. So they should ideally receive bonuses based on their pay, like, but well, based on performance, right? So they should.
Yes, yes, but
You do
it wasn't
better, you get more money.
wasn't wasn't one in terms of Activision's response. One of them was meant to be a humanitarian uh, performance as well, like how well the team had been treated and stuff like that.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was some kind of nonsensical thing in like that. And even though they're crunching their developers like all balls, that Robert Korag still goes, "Hey, guess what? I did good, right?" But
Yeah,
so they get paid for performance, and that's the goal is they get a raise for the performance. However, what makes no sense about that is each year, most of the money they get given is actually in stock. It's stock options. Now, if you're doing a good job and you're doing your job and the company is getting bigger and earning more money and continuously growing, then your stock goes up in value.
yep,
So you're already getting a pay rise because you are doing a better job.
yep,
So they don't need more money. They don't need an increase of 10 million in one case. They don't
nope,
need that. Their stock covers it. The stock that you promised them and that you paid them last year, if they've been good boys and good girls, it will have gone up in value.
yep.
But that's not how it works for these companies, is it? Because how
Oh no,
often do
they
they have massive drops in stock valuation?
that's because they can't seem to understand that if they are a good company and they do the right thing, they go up in estimates, pardon me, and actually, increase their value. They don't seem to be able to see past the green that they want more of in their wallets.
It it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. It is a bubble. If you blow up a bubble super fast, yeah, it gets big, but it pops real bloody quick. If you just take your time and grow it slowly and gently, you can end up with a bigger bubble that lasts for longer. It's almost like if you didn't rush to try and make all of the money and screw over everybody in your path, you might be able to build a good foundation, build atop that good foundation with good walls, and keep building and building and build. And then guess what? 20 years down the line, you're still massively successful, making more money than you were at your peak, and you're still growing. How don't these people understand this? It
I reckon
doesn't
they
make
do, they're just too
sense.
impatient.
Yeah. I understand they have a duty to their shareholders to make money, but you can say to your shareholders, look, we're not going to make ungodly amounts of money. We're not going to do that. Instead, we want to build a strong, thriving community that will support us going forward. I said it last week, didn't I? Goodwill is an actual currency.
Yep.
It's something you can actually spend. So why not start banking it? Because when Robert Coatrag ends up on his ass because he's been kicked out because Activision has failed drastically, because I'm only guessing here, but I'm just going to take a stab in the dark and say a Jason Schreier article's come out that's exposed all of the bad shit that's happened at ActiBliz. Like that's the kind of thing that's going to happen, and their stock will plummet. He'll get kicked out, and then what's he going to do? Yeah, he'll have billions, but he'll never work in the industry again. And isn't the point of working in this industry the reason we, as in the Sometimes Serious Show, do the Sometimes Serious Show? There's a couple of reasons. One of them is we actually like to entertain and make people laugh, which is, a lot of the extra content you guys haven't seen yet. That's what we do. It's not news and serious. It's just fun, and we actually really enjoy that. One of the other reasons is we love this industry. We
Yeah.
love this industry so much, and we care about it so much that we are willing to do all the extra work so we can, you know, I was going to say be part of, just, have a glimpse into it and try and help. It's a lot of work, but we love it. And because we love the industry. Surely Robert Coatrag got into the industry because he loved gaming or games or technology. And
I
that's why
really
all the
hope it.
developers
I
get
hope
into
it
it.
was that, and not because he was just bored and thought this'll be a laugh.
You'd have to expect someone in this industry who works with this day in and day out, they have to love it. You have to. So do you really? Yeah, sure, he'll have billions when he's kicked out. But do you really want to be kicked out full stop? Wouldn't you rather go down in the annals of history as, Shigeru Miyamoto? He passed away years ago, and we still talk about him to this day. His quotes are still used to this day to describe
I
things that happen in the industry.
Okay, but I know the mentality of people like Korak. He he cannot see long term. When it comes to business, he cannot see long term because all he can think about is making as much money in as short a time as possible. So if he was able to see long term back when he started, he's lost that ability because he's just gone too greedy. Which means now he'll be too focused on getting more and more money that he doesn't care about how he goes down in history. He just cares about what he has in his pocket, or bank, rather.
It's one of the weird things I've never understood. The only way to truly become immortal is to be remembered. Guess what? We're all gonna die. It's gonna happen to us all. There's no getting away from that. It doesn't matter if you've got a billion or one. You're gonna die. So why wouldn't you want to be remembered? Shigeru Miyamoto is held in such a high regard because the man was a legend. The man was an absolute legend who pioneered so much in the gaming industry, who stuck his neck out for his team on multiple
Yeah,
occasions.
yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to be that? Why why wouldn't you just internally go, huh, I'm despised across the entire industry. The reason I don't go to conventions and like stand up on stage and be like, hey guys, is because they'd throw things at me. That's how much I'm hated. People relish whenever anything terrible happens to me. Why would you want that? Why not go, hey, I'd rather be Shigeru Miyamoto. I'd rather be known as the father of Super Smash Bros. The guy who, like, how many quotes do we use from Shigeru Miyamoto in, let's say, a month?
A few, a good handful at least. Because we're normally always talking about topics that are like this, and we normally one of us goes, what's that quote? And then we'll come up with about two-thirds of it. And the other one I'll go, I remember that. It goes and then finish it off. So,
Why not be remembered that way? Ah,
like I say, some people just do not have the ability to see long term. And that is actually what's financially probably very good for the company. However, it's also equally what's bad for the company. You look long term, you can see the knock on effects of every decision, you can plan for them, you can actually help the company out in the long run to the point where you could have set so much up that even after you've left, something that you have done has helped them.
I'd be guaranteeing that a lot of Switch sales, like the initial Switch sales, were because of Shigeru, because he actually designed it. Well, he didn't design it. He was part of the team that designed it. He was the main project lead for it. And then he died before it came out. And I saw quite a bit of I'm gonna get it just because it was his last project. It was the last thing. He never got to see it come to fruition, but it was his last project, and I wanna remember him. And Switch has quite a few issues, quite a
Yeah,
few
it
like
does.
inbuilt core issues.
Yeah.
But people don't talk about that. People look at the Switch and they look at Smash Bros and they look at Kirby and they think
And
Shigeru
Legend of
Miyamoto.
Zelda.
They think how good of a company he made. Even though Nintendo's going the other way, and well, that's the thing. They're going the other way. They're spending that goodwill.
Yeah,
That
they
goodwill
have
that
that
he
goodwill.
built.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Anyway,
And
we
that's
got way off topic of fuck you, EA.
yeah, yeah. Once again, fuck you, EA. But this time it's not just a fuck you, EA. It's a fuck you, EA.
There is an interesting story that came out from the group. They posited how it was something like 5, 6 years ago when they first started to try this. They only had about 4% of the board support them, and now
That's
they're up to 70 odd percent.
yeah,
So this is the tides are turning. People are starting to see through the nonsense. Next year, when it comes around to, hey, Bobby Coatrag, I feel like I should give him a much worse name. Still begins with C and ends with rag.
uh
Yep. Ah, it's
yeah.
his
I'm not
turn to
saying
get
it.
paid even more. Something tells me maybe they're not getting paid even more. Something tells me maybe that won't go through. And I can only hope.
Yeah.
Ah, please. Please.
I I I will say, as my like sort of final side on the subject, I will say I want to see EA, Activision, Ubisoft, and now unfortunately Nintendo crumble.
It
I
feels
mean,
like some of them should definitely be broken up.
yeah, I mean Nintendo, it's only because I've got a massive issue with their refund policy, which doesn't exist. That's the issue I have with it. They just turn
Mm.
around and go, no, no refunds for you. But they do look like they're going to get a lot worse, and I'm not happy with that. So crumble now, please. As for Activision, EA, Ubisoft, I think we've said enough over the past few weeks as to why I want them to crumble. But a quick recap, just in case you have decided to pick up on to our channel for the second to last podcast. I don't want the rape company to exist. I don't
Uh,
want.
an update about the rape company
Oh,
because you know we're almost done. We're almost wrapping it up, and I'm not certain I'm ever going to be able to find a way to add it into the daily news show. It wouldn't really fit in the daily news show of just going, hey, fuck you, Ubisoft. You protected and promoted sexual abusers and assaulters for years. Fuck you. I don't think I can fit that into the daily show. So, as one of the last times I can do it, an update on the rape company. They fired creative lead of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ashraf Ishmael. They sacked him. Proper gave him the boot. Now, remember when we first covered this and I highlighted him in particular and I specifically said if he was innocent I would apologize? Oh, looks like I don't
yeah.
need to. Fuck you, you scumbags.
Yeah. But that's why I want to see Ubisoft fall and crumble and burn. EA, because, oh, why wouldn't you? Just why wouldn't you? Never mind the ridiculous bonuses the top dogs get there, but also, really, how many loot boxes? I don't play the sports games, but what have you done to them?
They've killed off
And
so many studios, it's time for them to get killed off.
yeah, except it wouldn't be a studio killing them off. Although, depends how many people you'd consider a studio's worth of people. So,
Depends how many people buy Cyberpunk.
yeah. And Activision. I want old Blizzard back. I want the good Blizzard back, but unfortunately that's not possible. So unfortunately, Activision Blizzard, as they are now, has to crumble. I was never a massive Overwatch fan. I enjoyed it when I was playing with people I knew the skill level of, because, I think most gamers will agree, fuck randoms. But what they're doing is butchering everything, absolutely everything. And as much as I'd like to say, but that's because Activision stuck a bunch of their people in, it was going that way beforehand. So let's see Activision Blizzard just crumble as well, because all of the people that had genuine talent and were genuinely good will be able to come back, and they're the people that we'd pay the most attention to. So if all of it could crumble and all those good ones could come back and form their own thing together, that'd be great.
There are a couple of things about Activision Blizzard. I feel like Blizzard now is how we describe Bethesda. It's just Blizzard in name. The good people who were
Yeah.
there who made Blizzard, almost all of them have left. So that's fine, cool. I can't wait to see what they do next. I'll follow them instead. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, there is a story that I we weren't recording and I read off to Menzies yesterday, and it was kind of heartbreaking. I'm waiting for
Oh,
that story
yes.
to develop more, and then we'll do a daily show on it. Like we'll do a daily news show.
Yeah.
But there is some really, really horrific stuff going on there,
But
and it's
if I was going to say,
heartbreaking.
for those of you, if you want to know about it now, we're not going to
Wait,
talk about it now.
wait until we do our show just so you have to watch our show.
Yeah, come watch our show. We'll do it in a nice, concise form. But I think it would be fair of us just to say it is to do with the sports side.
Yeah, I do
This
go
is
look
not.
into it because we won't be able to cover it all. Like the
Yeah,
statement that this guy's twit longer that he released about his experience there, we won't be able to cover it all on the show. There's no way. And just the content alone of it would stop us. It's
yeah.
it's bad. It's really, really bad. But I think that about does it, unless you've got anything you want to bring up.
No, no, I haven't.
Good. So that's it for this week's podcast. No game recommendation. All Menzies is mildly interesting. We're I will find a way to bring back Menzies is mildly interesting in some form. I will find a way to bring it back.
Please don't let it die here.
No, I will find a way. We're actually gonna be off for the next like 2 weeks, I think it is.
It's going to be next weekend. We're not actually going to be here, so what's going to be released has been.
Don't worry, I've got it covered. I've got it covered. We're off for the next couple of weeks. I think it's next weekend and the weekend after. Don't worry. We have got some pre-made content. We were working hard. Don't worry, we're not going to leave you with nothing. If you check back on next Saturday for the last episode of the Sometimes Serious Show, and check back on
Or
next Sunday for a special Sunday show hosted by Reese. And then I
yes,
think it's on Wednesday, not this
yes,
Wednesday coming, the next
no,
Wednesday.
yeah, the
Uh,
Wednesday of the 27th, I believe it is.
Check back because the special project we've been hinting at for a while, the the other big project we were working on, apart from Lord of Lunchables, will be going up. But for now, that's a goodbye from me, goodbye, and a goodbye from Menzies.
Goodbye.